So Joe Douglas has had himself an absolutely A-plus off season, but I think there are 3 moves left to make that would tie a really neat bow on this offseason and also send a message. We'll get to the message in a second. First, let's talk about the players. We know from yesterday the Jets were visiting with Larry Ogunjobi, defensive tackle player. He's a stud, 28 years old, 6'4", 310, good size, 7 sacks last year. Now, run analytics, not kind to him. However, I'll say this. Cincinnati Bengals went from a bottom 5 rush unit to a top 5 rush unit when this man arrived. Now the money. He had a deal in place with Chicago. About $12-13 million a year. He failed the physical. Deal fell through. I'm not touching that number. Not with how deep we are at defensive tackle. So if he wants to take a prove-it 1-year deal, $6 to $8 million range, I think he upgrades our team significantly. Now, question is, what do we do with Sheldon Rankins? People are saying you cut Sheldon Rankins. Well, $1.25 million of Sheldon Rankins' base salary became guaranteed when we didn't cut him by March. So would that make sense? Just eat 1.25 out of his $5 million contract? I don't know. I feel like once that deadline passed, it was kind of pretty much set in stone that Sheldon Rankins is going to be a Jet in 2022, but it's still worth pushing an offer to Larry Ogunjobi. Next, another player visited the Jets a while ago, no contract, still a free agent, Quan Alexander, linebacker. I feel like this is going to happen. I think he's testing the market, seeing if he can get something better, and he's going to circle back around and end up in green and white. 6'1", 227, speedy. That's the perfect kind of linebacker that Robert Saleh wants to play outside linebacker in his 4-3 base. Good blitzer. 12 sacks in his career. Who does this sound like? Sounds like Quincy Williams. Yes. However, there is one thing that Quan Alexander does significantly better than Quincy Williams, and that is cover. And my goodness, do we need that? We didn't have a single linebacker who held up well in coverage last season. That's Quan Alexander's specialty. Again, the money, I'm looking at another 1-year prove-it deal for this 28-year-old in the $3 to $4 million range. Probably a day 1 starter if we bring him in. Finally, the safety position. I loved Jordan Whitehead. I liked bringing in LaMarcus Joyner last season, but now he's another year older, and he hasn't played football in a year. So I'd like to bring in Jaquiski Tartt, formerly of the San Francisco 49ers. There's system and coaching familiarity there. What I also like about Tartt is that he's a big-bodied safety, 6'1", 215. Whitehead is 5'10", LaMarcus Joyner is 5'8". So I think he would add some size to our safety room and probably compete with LaMarcus Joyner to be our day 1 starting safety. I think we can make all 3 of these moves. I think if we do make all 3 of these moves, it sends a big time message from Joe Douglas because he'd be saying it's not good enough to have an A-plus offseason. I want to leave no stone unturned, no holes on this roster, because that would send the message that he believes this team is ready to compete right now. And that would be really exciting. Unless I'm overreacting, let me know in the comments below. In terms of money, you might say, how are we going to sign all these guys? I looked on Spot Track. We don't have the... Well, guess what? We were about to sign Tyreek Hill and pay him a gazillion dollars after we already signed a bunch of other players. So if we feel like the value is there, we can flex the cap and bring in all 3 of these guys. No problem. Let me know what you think. Thank you for watching. Go Jets.